Brian Lehrer on WNYC. And yeah, now we'll end today's show for about our last 15 minutes with a very informal, unofficial, unscientific, and very premature poll of 2028 Democratic presidential candidates for Democratic listeners. 212-433-WNYC, 212-433-9692, call or text. In fact, I don't even really want to call it a poll, as opposed to just your impressions of who you're interested in so far, if you're giving this any thought at all. I know people personally who are starting to have this conversation around the dinner tables already, and it's worth noting that the 2028 primary season, even though, this year's midterms are still going on, has begun in several ways. Maybe you've noticed wannabe nominees are pumping out their books, right, as happens at this point in the cycle, and hitting swing states to talk to voters in hopes of garnering attention before the contest inevitably begins in earnest after Election Day this year. So listeners, who are you interested in right now? Or beyond that, even if you had to decide today, and of course, nobody's on the ballot yet, nobody's officially running, so name any name you're interested in, who might be your pick? Or who do you find yourself with your interest piqued about to potentially lead the Democrats in 2028? 212-433-WNYC, 212-433-9692. Call or text. Just to remind you of some of the big names that are out there. Governor Gavin Newsom, former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, AOC. Maybe you want to look to a political outsider like Mark Cuban or even Jon Stewart. People mention his name. I don't know if that's serious. Or maybe you want to give former Vice President Kamala Harris another shot. That's one of the reasons we're doing this, by the way. Maybe you saw the New York Magazine article by David Friedlander. The headline, like it or not, Kamala Harris is the front runner. So name your names. Josh Shapiro, J.B. Pritzker, Cory Booker, Senator Mark Kelly. Who are you interested in as of now, potentially, for Democratic nominee for president in 2028? Our lines are lighting up. Obviously, you're thinking about this. You can also text 212-433-WNYC, 212-433-9692. I didn't even mention Ro Khanna, who is probably in, the A-list group there. 212-433-9692. Stephen A. Smith, anyone? We'll see who you come with right after this. Brian Lehrer on WNYC. I want to acknowledge some of the calls and texts coming in with names I didn't even mention in the intro. This is how big the field is. Senator Jon Ossoff, Senator Chris Murphy, Gretchen Whitmer, and the one Marion Fairhaven is calling about. Hi, Mary, you're on WNYC. Hi.
Hi there. Listen, I'm looking at Rahm Emanuel because he has such a depth of experience in Washington, both inside the White House and outside the White House. And, of course, he has a direct governing experience, having been the mayor of Chicago. That's no small task. And correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't he the ambassador to Japan at some point, or am I just flat out wrong with that one?
I'm not sure. I would actually have to look that up. I think Rahm Emanuel gets mentioned as part of the more moderate, quote-unquote, group. Is that one of the things that draws you?
Yes, absolutely. He's not hanging off the edge on either side. He brings, as I say, a depth of knowledge and experience, but he's kind of moderate centrist, and I like that.
Mary, thank you for starting us off. We're going to get you that answer on whether he was ambassador to Japan in just a second. Alan in Brooklyn has two more I didn't even mention in the intro. This is how big the field is. Alan, you're on WNYC. Hi.
Good morning. As a Jew, I like a lot of the Jewish candidates. It's very competitive and competent, but I don't want to favor any of them this year because I don't think the country, in the wake of Trump and MAGA, is ready to make a record of electing its first Jew in 28. So I would rather see someone who's a solid centrist who will appeal to many independents, someone like Roy Cooper of North Carolina, Andy Beshear of Kentucky, Chris Murphy of Connecticut, Sherrod Brown of Ohio. I don't think we can afford to have a repeat of the third or fourth minority candidate, a woman candidate on the ballot trying to make the record in a year when we're basically trying to save democracy. Let's not try to make any records this year. Let's just try to save the country.
Alan, thank you very much. Heidi in Hawthorne, you're on WNYC. Hi, Heidi.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it. I'm sometimes caller and always listener. Love your show.
Thank you.
Elizabeth Warren, all day, every day. She's a very young.
All right. Now, Elizabeth Warren, ran
in
in one of the last cycles, presumably not running again in 28. So if she doesn't run, assuming she doesn't run, who else might be popping in your brain?
I'm thinking Buttigieg. Definitely somebody who will shake things up. Somebody who is very progressive, and I like him. That's all I can think of right now. Although
right at the moment,
I do like Brisker is good too. Yeah.
Heidi, thank you very much. By the way, yes, to our other caller, Rahm Emanuel was ambassador to Japan for President Biden. Ann in Long Branch is interested in Gavin Newsom. Right, Ann? Hi, you're on WNYC.
Yes. Hi, Brian. I love Gavin Newsom. I think everyone should read his book, Young Man in a Hurry. He's got a wealth of experience, environmentally, way past everybody. The governor of a large state, the largest state, and so many issues that are dear to me. Gay marriage, the environment. Gavin Newsom, I don't think he can win. I would love it if more people thought it. Well, no.
Who do you think? Who do you think could win? Some of the other callers have already shouted out electability and made them lean toward candidates who might not be their first ideological choice.
Right. I did hear the other callers, and Rahm Emanuel is somebody. It would be my second choice for sure. Interesting.
And thank you very much. Going with the Gavin Newsom, Rahm Emanuel block. We're getting a bunch of Mark Kellys in our text thread. Mark Kelly, one person writes, as much as I'd love to see the glass ceiling finally broken, I think today a white male with a military and astronaut past is more likely to beat a Republican opponent. So there's an example of that. He's also from, a big swing state of Arizona. David on Staten Island is going to mention some glass ceiling candidates. David, you're on WNYC. Hello.
Hello. Thank you. Two names, Tammy Duckworth, who has the military experience, and Amy Klobuchar.
Thank you very much. Lorraine in Hillsborough, still into Kamala Harris, going with the poll that the New York Magazine article cited. Lorraine, you're on WNYC.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, good morning. Yeah, thanks for taking my call. Kamala Harris did not get a fair shake. I mean, it started too late. Joe Biden did not get out in time, and she has experience. She has proved to us everything that she thought Trump was going to do and has done. And if it's not Kamala, I love AOC. Would love to see her run. And honestly, I also love Mamdani. He may be a little...
well, he's not allowed to. He's not allowed to under the Constitution because he wasn't born in this country, and he's already said he's not going to challenge that. But some people may hear you too and think, well, AOC, she's quite further to the left or meaningfully further to the left than Kamala Harris.
Yes.
So why those two together?
That's true. Well, I think we need to move in a more progressive. And I think you can persuade Kamala to move that way. I am really tired of the middle, white men running this country. And, it was sad about Hillary Clinton. I mean, our country would be in much better shape if Hillary had won.
Lorraine, I'm going to leave it there because we're almost out of time. Thank you for all that. I'll note another new name coming up on the board from somebody, Katie Porter from California. That listener says, only person who can go toe-to-toe with Republicans. And I just want to acknowledge that the name Andy Bashir, who got mentioned by one other caller, is coming up a lot on the phones and in our text. So I'm going to let Deborah in Westchester give a little more voice to him, and then we're out of time. Deborah, thanks for calling. Hi.
Hi.
Oh, and a few
West
Westmore, too. Just trying to get all these names on the table. This is why we did this segment, because there are so many names in here already, people who are considering it, and we're trying to get a take on who's piquing some of our listeners' interest at this early date. All right, Deborah, 20 seconds for you to talk about Bashir, then you're out of time.
Okay, I'm for Andy Bashir. Listening to everyone, I'm a Jewish woman. I don't want a Jewish candidate to run because, as someone else said, we can't win. I think we can't break glass ceilings now. We're not ready for a person of color, or Pete Buttigieg is brilliant, but no, we've got to go with somebody safe to win. Andy Bashir, moderate, wins in a red state.
Governor of Kentucky. Deborah, thank you very much. Well, that was interesting. The first of many, to be sure. Thanks, callers.
WNYC's journalism and storytelling is heard by millions of passionate listeners. Sponsors of our programming gain our listeners' attention and their respect. Learn about how your organization can support WNYC and WNYC Studios at sponsorship.wnyc.org.